Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday, 7 o'clock. Welcome to our LP PTA meeting for April. I have a loose agenda. I don't really have an agenda, but we have a lot of items to talk about. So I apologize for not preparing something to kind of share ahead of time. But I know we have Mr. Dijon here and a few other teachers. One of our big things to talk about is end of year with the science fair. And also to talk about, fifth grade moving up kind of things. So, and I know Mrs. Bello, will give us an update on the school, what's going on. I don't see anybody here from the board, but perhaps somebody might, join in from the Board of Education to give us a report. So if you want to tell us what's new, Mrs. Bello, if you want to start us off, or I don't know, Mr. Dijon, do you have, someplace else to be where we would want to talk about science fair kind of stuff first?
Yeah, Jason, do you want to go? Why don't we start with them, and that way if they have to go do something, they're more than welcome to do that. So
Okay.
Yeah, why don't we start with science fair?
Well, I just wanted to say thank you guys for helping support us and trying to get this thing off on the right track. We've got a lot of kids interested in participating. We've ordered, all the trifold boards, and Miss Costello's gone around to not only just third graders this year, she's hit fourth graders and fifth graders to try and drum up business for getting the excitement for our fair. I know that even the remote kids are being included in this, which is great because that's my class. And they're going to get a chance to actually videotape themselves, and we're going to put it on the school website based on grade level first, and then whatever the topic of their project is. So parents can jump right on and watch a 2-minute presentation, and so can classrooms too. So we can share that way also. We're still working out a lot of the logistics as far as COVID's concerned, and we're going to be very mindful that we don't want this to be a super spreader event. We don't want to end the year with young people getting sick or anybody getting sick, so we want to be careful that way. But what we need some help with is, first of all, I'm not a big fan of the ice cream that we're going to pass out, but I know that we have to keep it legal. So we're going to have individual little portions. And it's those, I wrote you guys the email because those little portions, when I was a kid, I always got one of those, and I hated those wooden spoons. I go, get this thing away from me. It tastes terrible. And I remember throwing it as a kid, but then I'd get my spoon and I'd go 1, 2, and it was over. So I wanted to buy, we have to get I understand. We just have to make concessions. But the t-shirts, we're going to do whatever we can to try and get them the t-shirts, because that's like the biggest standing tradition. I know that we just put out for fifth grade to do a t-shirt design for it. So that's always a nice honor for fifth graders to try and get that. So whatever we can do to help fund that, we'll do. So whatever you can spare, we would be very appreciative of it. Did you guys have any questions about the science fair?
I do. Were they supposed to say that they were interested already?
Well, it just started. So we're just starting to get the info out. So
Okay.
so teachers are, Miss Costello's going out. I'm going to go on the announcements next week at some point just to drum up business. And also Miss Estes went on to try and get the fifth graders to start putting in a design for the science fair. So we're in the midst of doing it. The forms are not going to be due until the 27th of April. So there's plenty of time to get kids involved. And then we're going to have our approval day on the 28th. That's when they get their boards. And then the kids will have a whole month for the whole project. We're going to kick this off in May. So.
Yeah, I did see
for the t-shirt are due to Amanda by next Wednesday. So it's a tight turnaround, but we're kind of working on a tight timeline. So
I did see that. Ben brought that home yesterday. So I did see the t-shirt thing, but I didn't see anything else as far like what Tiffany was saying. I don't know if any of the other paperwork has made it home yet, but it might not be planned.
When do the packets, I know they've already started, when do the packets go home with the kids?
So as soon as what happens is we make the announcements in the classrooms that who would like to join the science fair, and then we hand them a packet, and then they can bring that home to their families. That's the first interest. The kids have to be interested first, because we don't want to push it on families. But yeah, the kids are interested first, and then we hand them a packet.
I know a bunch of us are going on Monday with Jen, like she was kind of filling up her schedule. So I know some people went this week and then a bunch of us are going Monday.
Okay. So hopefully by early next week, all the classes will have that then.
Yeah, maybe I can go on the announcements Monday and put out a thing to the kids.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I would like that. Hannah,
I have a
that's
question as
awesome.
well. Oh,
I was just reading her comment that her third graders are pumped.
Good.
Hannah's a
So
third grade
excited.
teacher.
They were freaking out today when Ben came in. So
That's awesome. All right, good.
and I have a question. I know that, sorry, t-shirts have been a tradition in the past, and one of the things that we'd kicked around with in the PTA is there's an awful lot of t-shirts this time of year, and we were trying to gauge how much the t-shirt itself was important versus the concept of the kids being able to contribute and create the design and have that featured. And one of the other things that we thought about was getting the designs printed on a notebook and tying it into the science theme to say, you know, use this for your data, your tracking, your collection. Just for me, from a parent perspective, I know we get a lot of t-shirts from everything that the kids participate in. And especially if it's not a thing where we can see impact of all of the kids wearing them on science fair night, because that's not going to be a reality this year.
Yep.
And because as a PTA, and I think for everybody as well, the financial, it's been a weird year financially. We haven't been able to hold fundraisers. Have you guys talked about that or kicked it around within the school?
Yeah, we did. We talked about it as a committee, and we were really, really hoping that we could keep the tradition going. I know that we normally have the science fair around March. So that kind of spreads out who gets the t-shirts, and, you know, you got to participate in the thing to get it. It's one of those
Right.
exclusive things. So we were kind of hoping that
Okay.
we could keep that tradition, because it's 25 years going. And
Okay.
yeah, if that's all right with you guys. I mean, I don't want to, I know
Yeah,
that your
we can
budgets are
definitely-
tight.
We'll take a look at the numbers. Megan, I just saw Megan Fest in my email that you did share the treasurer's report, so we can kind of review that. The other hope would be that, you know, with the fifth grade kind of moving up shirts, if we can find the right company that's going to give us, you know, a better deal, you know, hopefully, you know, we can research those, you know, kind of quotes, so we can kind of work on numbers, maybe early parts of next week, or talk about them tomorrow. I can check in with, you know, Mrs. Lorberg or whatever, and see what kind of actual numbers of shirts that we're looking at. And then look at, you know, possible vendors. Amanda, Mr. Dijon did give me another name for a possible vendor. So, you know, we can just see what we can, you know, come across. So.
And I
Yeah,
have a name for you too, Penny. So one
Okay.
of my really good friends owns her own company.
Okay.
So I just was throwing it at her, like, because, you know, the numbers there's 115 fifth graders, not including the adults.
Okay.
So you'd probably be looking at another 10 shirts for the
I
adults.
think that's what we did last year, was 10 or 12 extra
Yeah,
for
so
adult
it's
size.
125 for fifth grade, and then we'd have to kind of, well, I guess it depends on when we'd put our order in, but we'd have to the science fair. I mean, Jason, how many kids typically have been participating the last few years?
So we're probably going to get 100, and well, in typical, we get 120. And if 110 to 100 kids actually finished the thing, that was where we were at pretty
About
much
100
every
kids?
year. It's definitely over 100 every single year, but it's that, you know, 10 kids, you know, 15 kids will drop. before the project is there. And, unfortunately, we've
Yeah.
had to buy the shirts. The good thing is that we take the shirts and put them in to a pile that we give to kids later, maybe next year. So there's, they're not in the science fair, but they needed a shirt for whatever, or
Or it
we
goes
donate
to our
them. So
nurse, so like if
Yeah.
there are students, right, like there was an accident or what, we have some
Yeah.
clothes for the.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I don't think,
Yeah.
I think that the funds are there for the shirt. I think part of it was, is it, I don't want to say required, or I guess it's popular vote.
Yeah.
Popular opinion is for the shirt. That's the choice product. So
yeah,
I think we can still support that as the PTA.
Yeah, and I think in a different year this year, we've just decided to kind of look at a little different angle to see things we've always done, understanding the tradition, or are there things that maybe this is a year to change, or things like that. So yeah, we can definitely, take a look at things. That would be a segue. Megan Fess, if I share my screen, if Mrs. Bello gives me.
Oh, sure.
we got to share that ice. We got to change that ice cream. That's one thing.
Yeah. Let's get us all back in the school so we can enjoy an actual dish of
As
ice
soon
cream
as you
with
started talking about it, I thought, ooh, I used to love that spoon.
You did? Oh,
There's
Oh,
always
yes,
two
I love
sides,
it.
right?
Okay, so
Oh,
then
it's so funny.
I'm with
There's always
Tiffany. I was like, I
that's
think,
not for me.
yeah.
I don't like it. I do not
I
like
think-
it.
Oh,
I
it's
think
so
I don't know if
funny.
I would like it
Antithesis.
now, but I'm like, ooh, that is like a real memory for me. I love that.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
just gonna try and share this to my
Oh.
screen. Sorry, guys. Can you guys see that? I can't tell if you can or not.
Yes.
So Megan Fess, are you still on the call? I can only see a couple people on here. Would you like to go over the budget? I just pulled up the April one, so I know there were some amendments to the March one, but I'm sure this kind of carries over from it, or I can bring up both of them, whichever you prefer.
They're almost identical, so this one
Okay.
is quite fine.
Okay.
So the checking account had no deposits and no withdrawals, so it's still at the 4,347.46. Cash box is still in my bedroom and still hasn't been used, so that's still at $50. And the savings account had an 18-cent interest deposit, giving us $1,245.44. So that's it.
Okay, so we'll stop there. Mrs. Bello, if you want to give us an update, we can talk about, getting quotes. Maybe we can kind of pick some companies or something, and we'll disperse over the week and kind of figure out what numbers, we can get and compare and
Yeah,
see
because
what
I'm
numbers we'll
totally
maybe put
happy
both
to go get a
together.
quote from my friend if you guys want to investigate yours, and we can just
Okay.
get like the cheapest company.
Yep,
Okay,
that's great.
cool.
Would we do both, like get both quotes at the same time? So like 125 for the 5th graders and then does 120 is just student shirts, right? Or are there?
Yeah, we
staff
don't
that
get
gets
any for the
shirts?
staff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And do we
so
print, how many colors do we print?
just one?
Like,
Well,
just one?
It's black with one other color.
Okay.
And then the 5th grade shirts last year were one color, and it was like a tealy blue, color, but it was one color on a white shirt. So we do try to keep it to just the one
Okay.
color for easy screen print.
I know I'm chiming in late, but did we talk about letting Amanda Estes know about the t-shirt just because she was in communication with a guy, and I know she said she needed to let him know ASAP.
Yes. So we need to
Okay.
let her know to move forward with getting the quote.
Okay.
So
And then we'll just compare
yeah,
them.
and let's compare.
Okay.
We'll see who can get the cheapest price.
And then Jackie Antonelli sent me an email earlier today as well about 5th grade. And I had, alluded to it with Mr. Dijon the other day, because Mrs. Bello, you had said Miss Ryan and Mrs. Dijon, or Mr. Dijon, sorry, to have like both design contests at the same time or something in that regard. So I asked Jackie, I said, should it go through you or whomever on the 5th grade side who can kind of, head that with the 5th graders to do their design contest? Is it
Yeah,
Jackie or is it Miss Ryan still? Should I?
Well, I talked to Jackie about it today because she had
Okay.
mentioned that you were interested in having that by the 21st as well.
Well, I thought if we could do them simultaneously, then we get the shirts done, quicker if it meant a
Right.
cheaper price,
So-
but
So what I suggested to her is we go back to what we used to do when we first did the 5th grade shirts, which was literally, it said, Laurelton Party, class of 2021, or it might have said East Irondequoit Lancers, class of 2028, something like that. And then it just had every kid's name printed on it with the, just with the Lancer logo. And so it was one color. I'm pretty sure it was just the one color. Maybe the logo has two. I think it might have gray in it as well. I don't know.
so
But
not have a
I said
contest.
that's kind of something that you could really put together very, very quickly. You don't have to do two sides. I mean, the kids like to have everybody else sign the back of the shirt. So it kind of just makes sense to do that. So I had mentioned that to her today. I know we used to do that a while ago, and these kids weren't there last year when the 5th graders got their shirts. So I don't think too many of them are going to remember in 3rd grade, when they were in 3rd grade, that the 5th graders had a design contest for the shirt. So in my opinion, I think that would just make life easier. Then you could get both of your quotes and be done with that. But
Okay,
that
so
was a
forego
conversation.
the 5th grade competition or choosing of their own hand-drawn
Yeah,
for
because
the
to be
5th grade.
perfectly honest with you, with having the other one due on Wednesday, I mean, a couple of my kids have gotten that done already, but I think they'll just be kind of like confused.
Well, that's why I wasn't sure if it was competing or if someone would be so like jazzed about it that they would just spend all weekend doing 2 of them or something, like I didn't know what the tradition or the excitement, would be related to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that could work, especially on our tight timeline. I think that could work. We do something
mean,
like that.
Yeah, it'll be something that people might wear more often. I don't know, if it
Yeah.
has the branding of the school or, even the keep calm and party on or something of, that kind of thing with fifth grade.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we can
Alright.
talk about that.
So just so I understand, we're going to move forward with pricing out. So about 225 to 250 shirts then.
Well, yeah, because you had 125 for one and 120 for the science fair. So that's 245.
Yeah.
Right there. So you're looking at
Okay.
something in that range, 245, 250. But I mean, even those extra 5 will add up to quite.
We want exact numbers, people. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
That sounds good.
Thank you, Mr. Dijon. Thank you, Mrs. Miller, for your input on those 2 areas.
And thanks for all you guys are doing. I really appreciate it.
Yes.
I think our little people will like it. Thank you, guys.
Have a good night.
Guys.
You too.
Hi, thanks, Mr. Dijon. So just for the minutes, the sake of the minutes, we're considering doing a more generic thing for the 5th grade and okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure which. I think that's a good idea because I think that then they'll wear it like once they get into middle school, maybe.
I was going to say, because then they could still wear it in the middle school. Totally. Hi, Mr. Fuller. How are you? Thanks for joining us. Tell Charles we said hi, okay?
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, now
Yeah, we
hear you.
can. Welcome.
Okay.
Glad you're here.
Thank you. Yeah, kind of had a day off, so I was like, oh, cool, this is Zoom. Let me go ahead. Everything's
Yeah.
always happening on Thursdays and Fridays, and that's when I'm at work.
Yeah. Oh, so we got you on a good night. How's my buddy doing?
He's doing good.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
Mhm.
You miss him in person.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You doing okay though?
No, he's good. He's decided to do everything online now.
I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I know. I get to see him on the computer now.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully he'll get back on in the class thing, whatever.
I know.
Possible next year.
I keep my fingers
Yeah.
crossed.
Yeah.
Open up next year, right? Everything.
Yes. Yeah. Hopefully next year everything be all good, back to normal.
Yes,
Yeah.
I am with you. But thank you for joining us. So we were just talking about some science fair kinds of things. So I don't know if you guys remember the science fair from last year. Charles was a 3rd grader, but he'll be getting a packet pretty soon. That's something that he can participate in. So
Okay.
every year the kids get t-shirts. So we just were talking about shirts and trying to organize that a little bit.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Good.
All right. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
Penny, did you want me to go into updates, building updates?
Yeah,
or-
I think that's good. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So not too much to share because we just talked a little bit about the science fair. So that is indeed happening at the end of May 28th. So more details to follow when we kind of figure out more of the logistics. Next week, so you got a little bit of a teaser in my newsletter on Friday, and then the district should have sent everybody a letter regarding ELA state tests that are happening next week on the 20th. They are substantially shorter than in previous years. Our remote students are not taking the state test because it's too hard to administer that at home. And equity of all of that. So remote students are not taking those tests. In-person students would take those tests, but like I said, it's only one day this year. It's only multiple choice. There's no short answer or extended response questions. So we're hoping that it doesn't take them longer than 60 minutes. 5th graders, they project about 90 minutes it could take them. So anywhere from like 60 to 90 minutes, hopefully not even that. All of our students are taking these tests on their iPad. It's called computer-based testing, or CBT. So they're no longer, they no longer do it on paper. It's all on their iPad. So we've been prepping staff for that. There was a question that I wanted to make sure. Any anticipated fiscal impact of the remote kids not taking the test? No, absolutely none. 0. They just don't count this year at all. Okay.
Yeah, I meant
You mean
like because scores are assessed by the state, right? Like
Right.
for funding distribution. So
has no impact on any of that. So it has no impact on teacher and APPR scores, and then it has no impact financially on the district as well.
are they just being taken out of the calculation? So like if 200 kids take it and 100 don't, is the scoring only, you know what I mean? It's not like you're going to get a 0 for the 100 kids that are remote and don't take it, right? Are they like just excluded from the metric?
Correct. Yes. So we do not get dinged in any way from the students who are not taking it.
Okay.
So I'm actually a little surprised. I shouldn't be surprised anymore that we're even taking them or being asked to take them. But I guess in the grand scheme of things, when you look at, just the multiple choice, and there's anywhere from 18 to 23 questions, depending on grade level, it's going to be significantly better than, what we've experienced in the past. So, any questions about that? So the ELA is April 20th, and then the math will take place May 4th. 4th graders will still take the science exam, but only the written portion. They don't do where they do their experiments and the stations. They're not doing that. And that's occurring on June 8th. So we are pretty set with that, and we'll be communicating that to families, but just wanted to put that on everyone's radar, that's up and coming. Just some end of year kinds of activities. Oh, Teresa, let me see. You just sent a question. That's okay. I just get like these little blurbs.
I'm sorry, I can just ask it too. I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
So I know that they've used these scores in the past to help determine like placement in 6th grade for math and stuff like that. I'm assuming they're going to try to use like MAP scores and all those kinds of things this year instead, since we're not really sure how this is going to go and how many kids will do. And all that good
Yeah, 'cause
stuff.
we're really not going to be able to use these state scores for very much because
Right.
About a third of our students aren't taking it just by the nature of their learning model.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll be using a benchmark called map testing. We'll be using that. We'll be using teacher input. We'll be using their reading levels. So other metrics that do not involve the state tests. Yeah, good question. These are great questions. Hi, Julie. Welcome back. So glad to see you. We were just talking about state tests, you know, those fun things. Any other questions, you guys, about that?
I'm sorry, somebody might have already asked this,
Sure.
but Leanna mentioned that they're not really doing science. So how will they go about like doing a state test for science?
Yeah. So they are doing science in some capacity, but they're not doing it maybe the way that they had experienced it before. So
Okay.
the science test, Julie, it's a written test.
Okay.
And what you need to know about the science test is it's not just fourth grade content. So
Okay.
it's been science content that they've sort of learned along the way. And then fourth grade just happens to be the year they decided to do the benchmark for all of that science instruction.
Okay.
So it's not just fourth grade. And as a matter of fact, they're supposed to be moving that science test to fifth grade. And so there was, you know, talk about doing that this year, but then with COVID, they've pushed that off. And then there was supposed to be a year where we weren't doing it, which we thought was going to be this year. And then we were, nope, you're doing it. So I can't keep track of it, Julie. I really can't. But eventually it is moving to fifth grade. And again, it encompasses the science that the kids have learned up until fifth grade, or well, this year, fourth grade, but when it gets to fifth grade.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, good. And it's usually a 2-part test. And the first test is it's all experimental kinds of activities. And then they're answering questions. And then the second part is a written portion where they're doing a couple multiple choice and short responses. So they are not doing that first part. They're not doing the stations or the experiments this year. Just the written, because you can't share the materials. So that's their rationale.
So just as a question that nobody else maybe will care about, but
yeah,
how do you think that the lack of experiments is going to affect the scores? I wonder, like kids usually do pretty well on science.
Honestly, I think they're going to be okay. Historically, our kids do very, very well on those tests. I mean, our scores are really high. So I'm hoping to not see a huge impact with that. But I guess time will tell. But our kids typically do really, really well on those exams. And because to be honest with you, they don't change year to year. So, you know, unlike like the ELA and the math test that like you never know, and the field test questions, and you never know what's going to get thrown at you. You always know what's going to be on the science. And so teachers can better prepare the students, like literally. There's like the same, sometimes there's the same exact questions. Like I kid you not, from year to year.
I have always wondered why they always like everybody gets fourth on the science. I've always wondered that.
Because they don't change.
Interesting.
Now
they're selling the answers to each other year over year. There's a third grade underground test ring.
I review a lot of records, and almost always kids like twos and ones and 2s and 3s, and then 4 for science. All the time.
I just told you all the secrets. Yep.
That's fascinating.
That
Thank
is
you.
why we do so well.
It's not just you. I don't.
It's everybody. Yeah.
Not just you at all. I don't know anything about your test scores, but I know that in my school district, that's the way it goes. And it always is that way. So I've always wondered. Thank you for teaching me something.
There's my honesty, and it's recorded too. So I'm probably going to get arrested at some point from NYSID, but you know, it is what it is. I'll get fined. I'm going to get a big fine in the mail.
We won't tell on you.
Thank you.
No. As long as you're not making the tests, I think you're innocent.
No, I am not. I wish I was though. It'd make them a lot more fair. Okay. Any other, those have been great questions though. Anything else about that?
So I have a question about buildings. I know you had a group of kids come back in Monday, right? Like it
Yeah.
was the start of a new 10 week.
32
also-
kids to be exact.
And I also know that the reports that we've been getting on infection, kids, maybe I don't want to call it, I hesitate to call it infection in the schools, but kids being sick. Those numbers have been big the last couple of reports. Is it because of break week and people probably were not behaving responsibly when they were out of school for that week?
Yeah, that's a good question. Amanda, I don't know why. There's also a variant out there. So I was talking even to our own kids pediatrician, and there's a variant out there that children are more susceptible of getting. And so we're now seeing an increase in the number of students that are testing positive for COVID, and they're wondering if it's because of these variants. And then of course, behavior too would be a big indicator of that. So yeah, it's unfortunate because you think that you're doing so well, and then all of a sudden these things change like that. But our building still is doing relatively well. We're still we communicate about mitigating efforts all the time, wearing the mask, the social distancing, the hand washing. The kids are getting tired. There's no doubt about it. And we have to remind our students all the time. And I'm even going to have to put something in the newsletter, like, asking families to help us out with that messaging, because they are fatigued at this point in the year. But we have not, I know CDC and even the Department of Health, New York State, has recommended that we can go down to 3 feet. Well, we are not. Our building is not. So we're still at 6 feet. Social distancing, wearing those masks. They only take their masks off right now when they're eating, or they're sitting. They do have mask breaks where they can take their mask off, but they have to be seated 6 feet apart. So, we're still, doing really well with that. And we even hired another custodian to come in and just do touch points. So doorknobs, handrails, lockers. So you'll see her, she just kind of walks around with her disinfectant spray. And so we're really trying to up as much of the mitigation effort as we possibly can.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It is a lot, but we got to keep the kids and the staff safe. So it's worth it.
The thing that when I get those emails, the thing that kind of makes me feel better is that all the kids are tested. They're getting tested outside of what you guys do at school. So to me, that says that parents are being pretty on it. Like they're on top of not sending their kids to school when they're sick. So I appreciate that. So at least that's something positive.
And I have to give a huge props to our school nurse, Mrs. Wright. We joke that herself and myself, we've become the least favorite people of many families, because we've had to be so strict about kids being sick, and if they are symptomatic, walking families through the process. And we get it. It is so frustrating. I have children of my own, like I totally get it. And I know we've become people's least favorite people, but so a huge props to Angela Wright, because that's not easy. But she is just so good. She's so diligent. She's been a great partner in this. Yeah, Tiffany, she is phenomenal. I agree. So I send her an email, thank her at some point, because she doesn't make enough, let me tell you, for everything that she's been doing. So yeah. Great questions. Anything? I was just going to talk about end of year stuff, and then we can move on. So 'tis the season, right? That we're gonna do some culminating activities. So I do believe that I've mentioned to this group, I don't know if I can have not, or Seabreeze is not on the table this year. So I'll be breaking the news to kids very soon. I've been kind of waiting because I know they're going to be so disappointed. So at some point I got to pick my head out of the sand and just break it to them. But there is no Seabreeze this year. However, we do want to do some sort of fun activity. Although we can't do it school wide, meaning everyone together, we were thinking of doing some sort of like, welcome summer festival kind of thing at the end of the year. I know we had started talking a little bit about this, where we could do like, it's like the 5th grade picnic, right? Where everyone can get a pizza lunch that day. We can schedule times where it's like field day activities. We can do a DJ and there's some dancing. We can do some other activities that are fairly low risk. And again, just create a schedule that the kids can safely have a good time at that. So that's probably, I just met with grade level leaders today, and we were thinking that it would be really cool to do it maybe one of those last 3 days of school. So like the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, somewhere in there, just because school just really starts to wind down then. So we do want to do a festival. Our 5th graders, we're still going to do a moving up ceremony. We're going to plan for it to be outside. And again, we can't do everybody because we'd like to at least allow the 5th graders to have 2 adults that could come. So we might do like 2 classes at a time. So there might be like 4 ceremonies in a way. So we have the June 16th as our scheduled date, and then the 17th as the rain date. So we'll be getting info out to the 5th grade families so they can plan for that. What else am I missing? So just the moving up day and the festival. Oh, and we already talked about science fair. So science fair at the end of May. So those will kind of be like the 3 big activities. Any questions about that? Hold on, I have chat. Who's in? Oh, that's nice, Tiffany. And Mel, yes. I'm gonna share this. I'm gonna take a picture of it and send it to her because I swear she just has the toughest job. Hannah, has any thought been put into how virtual students will be included at the end of the year? Yeah, absolutely, Hannah. So like for the festival thing that we're thinking, like they will be invited to come through at a designated time as well. Families are welcome to bring them, and then they can meet up with their teachers there. Like the science fair is lined up. It's May 28th, which is also a pickup day for remote students. So in part of them picking up, they'll also be able to walk around and see the presentations for themselves. So that's kind of how we're going to marry the 2 for that. And then for the moving up day, like the two remote classes, like they'll have their own ceremony, like they'll be in a group of together so that so our families are not mixing in person and remote. So yeah, whenever we're planning something, we have to plan like the 2 and like how to bring it all together. That makes sense, Hannah?
Yes, thank you. I thank you for putting the thought into it. I know it's hard to try to like marry the 2.
Yeah,
but
it's not fair otherwise, right? So
yeah, and they work hard, so they deserve it.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Okay. And if there's any other questions, that's pretty much it for me, Penny.
Okay. And speaking of the appreciation for nurses and custodians and the teachers and everybody else that, next month is Teacher Appreciation Month. So I did get solicited from DeBella's sub shop about quotes, and I checked in with Mrs. Bello as far as how many mouths there would be to feed in the building that would capture all appreciative, efforts with everyone in the building. So I was able to obtain a quote, and I can share my screen again. they had asked if I would want a quote for like just general lunch, like prepackaged lunch box essentially, or a lunch tray. And there does seem to
Oh.
be, I just looked at it quickly before the meeting, and it does look like there's, you know, kind of a significant difference in the both. So I'll just share my screen. And again, it's just, I was solicited for it and just thought, well, let's just get a starting point as far as what options we might have. So this quote here, can you confirm that you can see it with my share screen? Was for 20 turkey, 20 Godfather, and 20 old fashioned lunch boxes, which includes chips, a cookie, and then, you know, the fixings for it. So a 60 person quote right down here, which I don't know, Megan, do we give them a tax exempt so we would be alleviated from the $45.95? So so that would be $569.40 plus the $5 delivery charge if we wanted to give individual. And Mrs. Bello, you could attest to whether that might be easier for people to grab and go, or they did offer like a regular lunch, you know, tray kind of option. And I think you did say that it doesn't necessarily have to be pre-packaged, but variety sub tray, which looks like they're already pre-made subs. So it's not actually like a platter to create your own
Oh, wow.
subs, but that's like almost half the price. Well,
Yeah.
so
We
I
would be okay doing that, Penny, because like we were allowed to do pizza, right?
Okay.
To serve. So I don't see how this would be any different.
So it would be $299, essentially $300 plus a $5 charge, or $569.40 and a $5 charge. And that's just, you know, a starting point, but that seemed pretty easy and low
Yeah.
anything, but we could check in. I know in years past, I can't remember if it was Moe's or somewhere else that we had, you know, kind of a taco something or whatever, but so those are the two quotes that just came solicited to me earlier in the week. So I said, all right, let's grab them and get them. So those, you know, I think we've budgeted in the past, Megan, around 500 in the past for a teacher appreciation, although with the offset of potentially paying for the t-shirt costs for both the science fair, you know, I mean, those are just things that we have to kind of look at to make sure what decisions we're making and what money we want to carry over, you know, for.
We budgeted 400 for the teacher luncheon this year.
Okay.
And we budgeted 800 towards the science fair.
Okay. What did we budget for? Is there anything in there for the 5th grade t-shirts?
For the 5th grade picnic is 1,000.
Is 1,000. Okay. All right. So if teacher appreciation is 400, we went with the lower of the tray, that would be $100 savings, depending on whatever else, you know, pops and things that we might buy, or soda or extra treats that might go along with that. Does anybody have any comments? Hi, Mikey. Does anybody have any thoughts? I mean, we've got 2 weeks, I think, before staff or full appreciation. Would that be something that we would
Penny, would
agree
you be
upon,
doing
or-
it that first week of May? Is that?
I think
that the
usually
goal?
we've done it that Wednesday, Mrs. Bella, which is the 5th, Cinco de
Right.
Mayo. So I
Yeah.
don't know if that's what was on like the tentative LP schedule when Mrs. Lorberg and I did it over the summer. So we
Well,
can check
our
in.
schedule said the 12th for some reason, but
Oh,
that
did
was
it?
like a week. Yeah. It was on our calendars. And I told Lisa Lorberg, I'm like, I don't think that's right. I think they wanted to do it the week before. So if we could make it the 5th, I think that would be awesome.
So the union, is it the union or is it like the Board of Ed who provides, Teresa, do you know
Not
what I'm
this
talking
year.
about?
Yeah,
awesome.
so we
Thank
already
you.
found out for Hellendale, they are not doing a pizza lunch from the union this year.
Okay.
Okay.
So
I think they're getting
So you
That's
are
why we've had
free
to
for
switch
whatever.
days
T-shirts.
before.
They're getting t-shirts. Yeah.
The only thing, thank you. It's very, very thoughtful of you, and we all appreciate it. The only thing I thought I might mention is there are a couple of vegetarians, so I know
Okay.
if we want to just keep that in mind as an option for a couple of people.
That's
You
a
know,
good point, Kath.
do you know of like gluten intolerances too? I'm sure.
We do. I know for a fact one gluten intolerance.
Okay.
So we might want to consider that.
Yes. So for that and then vegetarian option. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Then for the high school, they've been doing Sign Up Genius for donations with really, really specific items to be donated. We did it for the 100 days to graduation breakfast, and we did it in for something in the beginning of the year. So that would help with other stuff that we could do on the sides, because it used to
Great
be
idea.
kind of just, like third grade would always do salads and fourth grade would do desserts and fifth grade would do drinks or that sort of thing. But instead of, so if at least that part was prepackaged and make that a little bit easier. So then that way it's not a complete feeding friends.
Yeah, and how would the delivery go,
Everything
Mrs.
out.
Bello? Would that be open for like, when could parents drop things off if they did want to drop off a case of water or a 12-pack of Coca-Cola or something like that?
No, it's not a problem. People can still drop things off.
Okay, okay,
Yep, we've got Mr. D and Mrs. Deli and Mr. Lorberg who could take those donations easily.
okay, okay.
Yep.
Would we want to do something that would be picking 3 different items for the 3 different grades and then see if people would want to donate those types of things? I mean, if anything, they could just hang out in the faculty lounge if it was extra, like a cookie or a dessert or a pop you can put in the refrigerator. Like, are there specific goodies, Mrs. Miller, maybe that, or poll the group? I don't know if Miss Santos is still on the call, but poll, like, what are the goodies that the teacher and the staff would appreciate? And then maybe we can put those on the list for the Sign Up Genius to kind of solicit specific items.
We are so not picky. I mean, people love chips.
Okay.
And I think everybody loves those little bags of chips.
Yeah, I was gonna say those bigger thing. Yeah.
You know, like
I don't think wine is appropriate, is it?
but we can put that on the wish list. Yeah,
I do always give that to Mikey's teachers though.
I don't necessarily see a
deserve
lot of people drinking soda. Everybody's kind of into those flavored seltzers. That's
yeah.
that's what all
Okay.
the cool kids do. So I kind of try to do that myself.
Okay. Yeah, and I know when we did the came back after break, I think I dropped off like waters with like just the fill thing. So there was a bunch of different, flavors and things like that too. Cause I do know a lot of people, choose to stay away from the sugary sodas and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
the
So-
last thing you guys did was a huge hit with like the fruit roll-ups. Like, and I had a Rice Krispie treat for the first time in
I
like
did
5 years.
too.
So
I did too.
you've been nailing the snacks, Penny.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, maybe that's what we'll just do is like grab and go items and, particular, either just list them and people can do a free for all, pick whatever you want, or like drinks for 5th graders, snack item chip bags for, other grades or whatever.
And we'll just list
Like
it out
one
as
grade could
more
do sweets and-
specific.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's probably the same thing. Yeah.
One grade to do sweet,
makes
one
sense.
grade could do salty, and one grade could do drinks.
Yeah.
Sweet, salty, and drinks.
Can I just give a suggestion?
Absolutely.
If you're gonna do a sign up genius anyway, then just make it whatever things you want, and then people can choose. Because like
That's what I
if you have
thought.
a family
The
that
more I
can't bring
thought of
in
it-
water, but they can totally bring in chips, it's just easier.
I think so.
if you're
If we
doing a
just
sign up
list
genius
whatever
anyway.
items and people can figure out, oh,
Yeah.
I have
What's
it in,
in
my
their
pantry,
budget,
I don't have
what's
to
in-
run out and
what
buy
can
it,
fit on the
or,
bus.
something like that. Okay.
That way you don't have to manage, you'd have to manage 3 sign up geniuses, like,
That's true
Bleh.
too.
So
Yeah.
you might as well just do one and let people do their thing.
Okay, perfect. Okay. All right. And then I'll get back to DeBella's and ask them if they have gluten-free options in the vegetarian, but we'll go with the pre-made tray, not so much an
Perfect.
actual cardboard, whatever box that takes away with them. Okay. Okay. And then the only other thing that I had to ask Mrs. Bello was related to like nominations for next year and PTA, were you able to reach out to anybody as far as who may
Yes,
be
I did.
interested
There were
in?
2 families that I had in mind, and turns out one of them is moving. I had no idea.
Oh,
I know, I was so bummed. And then the other one, just it was, just felt like she had too much going on at this point, but
okay.
thought the consideration was so nice. So yeah, I think the one that is moving would have been like perfect and would have totally done this, but yeah, they're moving out of state. So yeah, I have not had
Wow.
any luck with that.
Teresa, do you have anybody moving up with you that might be interested? That's a Hellendale or that's gonna come on?
So we just had our elections last week and we actually had someone for everything. So that was
Wow.
For you. Good for
exciting.
you.
Now you're just bragging, Teresa.
It took a little bit, it took some long phone calls, let me tell you. But we
Is that
got
how you did it? Will you tell us how you got people?
Yeah.
well, 3 of them are continuing, and then it's just they only needed to replace me. So only one person, but that was still really hard to just get one person.
It
Like,
is.
come on. So, but no, we have a family that's gonna take on some stuff. So, no, there's not a lot of people who are doing a lot of things who are moving up. So I don't have a lot of feeders for you. We have not had this has been hard for our families. I think a lot of our families at the younger grades, they haven't even experienced some of the stuff that they would have normally, like coming in and volunteering for hodgepodge day and stuff like that. So some of them haven't even done any of that. So, and then they're really low even on kindergarten is really small this year because of it. Like not everyone chose to send their kids. So
Right.
like we have
Yeah.
less people, but maybe in the future. We have some really great people coming up eventually. Like we have some really great families, like, but they're just not
The next,
quite
they're not
that
old
big.
enough yet. They're
Yeah.
2 years.
And they
from
have a
now.
bunch of kids. So
The next generation.
Next generation.
that's right.
Okay.
I'm happy to step up and do more. I mean, I was Leanna's Girl Scout leader for a long time, so I didn't have a whole lot of extra time. But now that she's bigger, I definitely could do some more stuff, if you need. I don't know what any of these jobs necessarily entail, but I definitely be open to the discussion.
Well, one of us
Great.
can reach out to you, Julie. That's amazing.
Hey,
We
Julie.
can talk
Yeah.
about it.
That's awesome.
That is great.
The nice thing is that it's not too much of a time commitment. We all work together. So it's not any one person that's ever really doing, a lot of the work. It's a good team effort. So I would like to still be part of helping, but my son Ben will be in 6th grade, next year. So I'll be back when Griffin comes through, but that won't be for another couple of years. So
Yeah.
So that's all that I had. Does anybody else have any new business or anything else that they would like to discuss?
So going along with that, since we don't technically have any board members for next year, Mrs. Bello, would you be able to put that into your some more like, we need you, or else there won't be a PTA next year?
Yes.
Yeah,
Because we need board members.
I was hoping that some of that would be sparked by sending out the survey, that we can put together a flyer for that too. Like it's about building for next year and, how can we serve, but also how would you like to participate? And hopefully that sparks some of that. So we can double up on that message, I think, right?
No, that's great. Yeah, absolutely.
Megan, can
And
we
then
put
I
that
think-
in our newsletters as teachers? Or
Yeah.
is that not our thing?
Please do, Miss Santos. Yeah.
Okay, because I
please.
can think of a few parents that I've worked with this year who would be wonderful at it. So maybe if we just like spark the combo somehow.
Yeah, and if they have any
So-
questions, Melanie, just if they'd like to email or feel free. Any one of us would be happy to talk, but for sure,
Okay.
I'd be happy if they want to pass along my email address or something. That's fine. Or generic, Laurelton Party PTA email is fine too. Either
Okay.
or.
Yeah, that would
You know,
be
those-
great.
Because I
Those
think technically we
personal
have to
asks
have
are
the
so
names
huge.
out.
Yeah, Megan, you're right. They do have to be kind of out.
You know, like I think technically we're supposed to say these are the people on the have been nominated, and then technically at the next
Anybody else?
meeting
Yeah.
is when you vote, but it's always just ever been, well, we don't have anyone, so you go to that position and you move there, and it's been a huge switcheroo and pass. So if there's new people, Julie, if you have any questions, I don't know all the ins and outs, but I have been part of the PTAs all throughout. My daughter's a freshman and I've been doing it ever since she was in kindergarten. So if you have any questions, I can definitely help point you to the correct person to ask. But yeah, any way that we can get people, that would be fantastic. So.
It'd be great to get some people who have perhaps a different point of view too, a different
Yes,
perspective on things. So maybe even, I don't know, when the teachers are encouraging people, kind of think about that.
Yeah, like we're not looking at staying the way that it's been. It's kind of reimagining and those types of things that I think the PTA wants to go forward in a year where we're maybe less remote, but still have that option, which I think brought a lot of us, you know, together in ways like we just saw, you know, Mr. Fuller was able to join us, you know, quickly before, I don't know if he said he was on his way to work or,
Yeah.
you know, having these Zoom meetings has allowed for people to pop in and pop out, you know, whenever they can. So they've been nice.
Yeah, for sure.
And come late without disrupting the whole meeting.
No, we're happy. Everybody's welcome whenever they've got time. We're always open. Yeah.
For sure.
Penny, we didn't talk about the minutes from last month. Do we have to?
Oh
approve
my
them?
goodness, I didn't even, did you send them to me or should I grab them from?
They're in the drive and I can't share because I'm on 2 different computers.
Okay, let me see
You
if I
can do it. My husband, I use his work computer for PTA meetings and he had the audacity to take his own camera off his own work computer. So I had to improvise with the iPad and it's a mess.
Look at you, multi-tech.
Totally.
So Megan, can you, quick question while we're pulling that up. How many teachers are in each grade level?
So at 5th grade, there are 9 teachers.
Okay.
At 4th grade, there are 7 teachers. And 3rd grade, there are 7 teachers.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Oh, the other thing before we go over this, I forgot I was going to mention it. Mrs. Jackie Antonelli, when she sent a message, she was saying, I don't know what school district her daughter is in, but that her school district or school was doing a teacher appreciation, buying carnations for teachers. So she just kind of threw that out as an option, even for a little bit of last minute fundraising. And she said she would be willing to get the information to us. And I said I would mention it and I forgot up until this point, but and if not for this year, I don't know, has LP ever done a flower? I don't know in my time that I've, you know, been a parent, but has there ever been some type of either a flower gram or a candy gram or something that maybe even into next year that is something that could be done as maybe a smaller fundraiser?
I love it. I love that Jackie actually told me about that. And I thought it was so cute. So I can't speak to the last 3 years, but I know 10 years prior to that, no, we did not do that.
Okay.
So
I mean, I knew when I was in 5th grade, I think that was in my school 20 some odd years ago, but I've never seen it before in our schools, but I wondered that might be a nice and kind of low cost way to, you know, maybe charge an extra $1 for a candy bar or something. And that gives a little bit of a low fundraiser. And if not for this year, you know, something that could be considered for next year.
Do you think
love
that
it.
anyone would buy Mr. Spadoni and Mr. Dijon a flower? That's one thing that I worry about. Like if you,
That's true too, or maybe
Totally
just a
would.
candy,
Oh,
a candy gram, or like, I don't know, whatever, you know, those big posters that have all those little ones that say like, you're one in a, yeah, those types of things. So
We would buy Mr. Spadoni flowers and then pretend they were from his students and write their name.
Okay, I just wouldn't want anyone to get, if it's a teacher appreciation.
right,
I wouldn't
yeah,
want people to be
right.
left out because of
True.
their,
Oh my gosh. we're
so maybe it's a candy thing, and who doesn't like candy, I guess.
candy might alleviate my.
Or something like, you're so great, you're, better than a bag of chips, or whatever that slogan thing was
Yeah.
like many years ago.
Yeah.
You could do just a bag of chips or something like that.
Well, I was surprised though, because Jackie said the carnation, like, so you buy them for $1. So the fundraiser's $1, right?
Okay.
But like the company or the florist they go through, like they're only 50 cents. So you actually
get a
make 50 cent
50%.
profit, so like double, right? So it's a super cheap thing to do. So I just was blown away. I'm like, really? They're only 50
Yeah, and again, if not for this year, maybe
Yeah.
it's just something that could be, done next
Oh,
year,
interesting.
or
Amanda.
for,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know, like, do kids buy them for each other? That's what it was when I was younger, is, but
Yes,
then you
when
get
I was in
into-
high school, and then I was so sad because nobody got me a carnation.
and that's what happened. So then that's the hard part. That for me is like, maybe not do it, because you don't want to, have those types of situations
It's gonna
occur.
trigger our childhood, Penny.
Teresa, do you have something to say? You sound like you look like you want to comment. Okay.
No, I was just saying, oh, I never got a carnation either. So.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Oh, same.
I still don't get them. Don't worry.
I think my girlfriends and I bought. I
I
think my
buy them
girlfriends and I
myself
bought them
now.
for each
It's
other.
much better that way. You get what you like.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Penny,
So-
you're on today's meeting minutes.
Is that what I want, right? Oh, no, I got it.
No.
Jeez. Sorry, you're right. I'm like, wait, okay, hang on.
Not that I care that much about my minutes.
I saw
but
the
it is
date and I got so excited. It said April. I'm so sorry. Here we go.
It's a rule that we're supposed to approve them, and I'm a rule follower.
You're right. And I forgot because I didn't type an agenda earlier. Okay, is this better,
Yeah.
Tiffany?
There you go. That's perfect. So if you can scroll so people can kind of flip
Sure.
through them.
Yep, so the last meeting, March 2nd. I'll just go through. If anybody sees anything, if there's misspellings or something that isn't accurately put down here. And we're right at 8:05 right now, which is just the same time we adjourned last time. Does anybody have any changes to last month's meeting minutes?
Okay.
I don't hear anybody. I minimized my thing so I can't
I-
see anybody. So
I
I'll
don't know
assume,
if this matters, but you spelled my last name wrong.
oh, that does matter.
It does matter.
Yeah.
There's 2 L's and 2 Z's.
Two Z's.
There you go. Great. Thank you,
I'm-
Julie.
I'm also
Sure.
not, I'm Mrs. Bello, I emailed you about Natasha and Farwani's last name. I don't know if you saw that email.
Oh, it probably got buried. Sorry, Tiffany.
Yeah, no, that's
I will
okay.
find
It's-
their, I'll go find it.
There were a couple
Find it.
people, we sent out some thank you notes to people who had attended, and just to kind of give them an idea that we're looking for some change.
Yeah.
So I wanted to try and send it out to people.
That was
Oh,
a great idea,
no,
because
you
that's
know
how I
what?
remembered to come tonight.
Okay, Tiffany,
Oh,
no,
that's
in
good.
all honesty, Tiffany, I do remember getting that. Here's the thing. I don't know those women, and I don't know who their children are because they never said.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
I don't know, I guess I might be on Infinite Campus. I might be able to do like almost like a backwards lookup. So let me see if I can do that before I say I can't help you.
Okay, that's
If
fine.
it- if it helps, I think one of the women, she said it was her daughter's first day, so she was new.
It was her
I
daughter.
don't remember which woman it was. So if you had any new starters early last month or late April, she said she had a daughter. I do remember that part, but I don't remember which woman it was.
Okay, I'll go back in my memory bank.
And I'm not 100% sure about the spelling either. So, I hope that we can reach out to them and thank them for coming and encourage them to come again and give
Yeah.
us their input. But if we can't,
Although Natasha might be Amani's mom. So actually, let me go and look. Let me look at Infinite Campus.
Okay, if you do, that's
Okay.
great.
I love that you're doing that.
Show them our appreciation.
I love
Yeah.
that you're doing that.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Although
So
I
other,
think that you guys took it that way, like encouraging and thanking.
so other than getting those last names, I think we're okay to approve as submitted, Tiffany. Trying to look at everybody's faces. I minimized, so now I can only see my screen share, so. Does anybody have anything else? No? Okay. So what I'll do is I'll check back in with DeBella's. We'll check on the quotes. Maybe we'll disperse offline who might be checking in with what company, and then we can kind of revisit toward the later parts of next week, which sounds like that's when are the contests due? Is it is it next week?
So so next Wednesday is the science fair design
Deadline? Okay.
due, and then well, we are not gonna do a contest.
Right, so we
fifth
can
grade.
figure out what kind of template or what kind of shirt design for the fifth grade shirt.
Yeah,
So
we
we can
probably
kind
could
of,
even ask. So Danielle's in our communications department, and she's super
okay,
talented. So I wonder if she might even like design something for us, like with Kathy's suggestion to use our logo, because we have our own LP logo, which
that's
has
right. That was new with the
answer
district rollout, right? Yeah, okay.
So she probably already has those images. So and she's a graphic designer by trade.
Yeah, I mean, if she has time and you can check in with her, then maybe we can.
I'll be really nice to her and
We
ask her
can
nicely.
review things and come up with maybe some decisions by, next Friday, so that those shirts can be hopefully turnaround time.
Okay.
Well, we still have a month, right? So it's the 28th is the science fair.
Science fair.
So,
And then
okay.
the 16th, the fifth graders wouldn't need it till June 16th.
Right, yeah. So we do still have some, I mean, we want to obviously do it sooner than later, but if we made a decision, on what company by early a week from Monday, then we would be fine, I think, for sure. Okay. All right, everyone, thank you for joining. If there isn't anything, we'll meeting adjourn at 8:10.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, Kathy, Mel, and Hannah for coming. I really
Yes,
appreciate
thank you so
it.
much.
All right. Bye,
Hey,
guys.
Penny, when's the next meeting, Penny?
I don't know.